So I'll try and explain a couple things real quick. I don't know if the camera will show this top surface. Try and catch the glare. It's been lightly wet sanded with a flat stick. When a spray gun shoots, no matter whether it's a cheap gun or an expensive spray gun, it shoots out little drops, little balls, and they leave what you've heard called orange peel. So a factory car off the showroom floor will have a little orange peel. When you look at yourself, you see yourself, but you see a little faded shadow because of the peel. I don't know if you can see what I've lightly sanded all that top surface off, but it's not all the way done. You'll see some of the shiny dots. That's the low spots. So I'm just starting to work off the orange peel on this one, as I would start any of them. And then to go on to yours, all your side surfaces, I do them by hand. And to where you're talking about, you may have scratches around here, or here, or here. I'm going to show you on this one. Most important thing to do is find a little sponge. And we use the flat side, but I cut a sponge to fit just inside my peaks. I don't want it bigger than the area I'm sanding. I cut it, that sponge to fit perfectly, as where you would cut one to fit perfectly right here. I know it's a little thin right here, but on this back side, I would cut the sponge just a little bit thicker before I wrap my sandpaper around it. Then the next thing important is to have a clean bucket with clean water, clean sponge, blow it off, rinse it off in the sink, rinse your bucket out. All dust and debris, is anything possible, get it out of your way. Have a couple of clean paper towels so you can wipe your surface down. I don't have anything here, I'm using my hands. But the main thing is to cut the block the size of the area, actually right inside. You don't want it to rub the peaks on the outside. When you're sanding, you want to stay right inside both your peaks. If you roll over to the right or to the left, these outside edges on your guitar or any guitar you're wet sanding, you'll burn through the clear and you'll have to redo it all over again. So when I get ready and I wrap my, you'll start with your 1000 grit, wrap it around your sponge, and then dip it in your water. But don't get it soaking wet. Just dip it in there and shake most of it off. Wipe it off the rag that I don't have, and start with your 1000 grit. Now make sure when I sand these areas, from here to here, or that round back area on your Strat, that when I do this, I don't roll over the edges, as I said. I'm trying to stay kind of off of them. Some custom painters will take masking tape before they do this, and to make sure that they don't burn off their edges when they're wet sanding, their hard peaks, they'll run masking tape on the sides of their guitars, their Harley tanks, their fenders, anything on a custom car, and they'll leave that tape there while they wet sand, so they actually can't burn that off. After you get used to it, you don't have to do that. So you dip and get rid of most of your water, and here you can see I've got a gloss. See the gloss? And there's some orange peel in it. There's actually some dust and some debris from the paint booth. So as I got my water on here, I don't roll over. I try and stay even. I try and stay flat. But I'll just take my sandpaper wrapped around my sponge with the 1000 grit or the 15 that you got. And as I'm working my way down, I'm kind of going in a little circle. You can go back and forth if you want. The thing is to stay even and flat and not burn off or roll over the sides. And you got to stay away from your corners too. But so I'm lightly going over. This is the area, say, on your guitar where you have those scratches. So you got 1000 or you got 1500. You come back in. You can take your water and you can put you a couple drops of Dove dish soap in it. All custom painters and all the body shops do that. Some like it, some don't. So what I'm doing, this was glossy, but I've got my 1000 on here. There's my rag. You can come back in, and as you do it, your sandpaper will take off the high spots of those scratches. This is shinier than where yours is at. Yours has already been taken through the process. This is the beginning of the process. So it's it's really important while you're doing this. Sometimes when you're doing this, you first hear your sandpaper. You'll hear your sandpaper, you'll feel the drag. As you start taking the top of that clear off again, you'll feel it get a little slicker because your sandpaper scratches all become the same. And so you go back and forth with your 1000 grit and your shine. I know you see the scratches on your guitar, but that area you're wet sanding like this, it'll go back into a haze. It'll lose the gloss. But what we're doing is we're taking the clear off and we're leveling it down past those scratches. Now those scratches can happen right now to me as I'm listening, I've got a really slick. Sometimes the edges of the paper will, you'll hear you scratch a little bit, but you have to pay attention, keep your bucket of water clean, and when you're dipping and throwing off, don't get a whole lot of water on here. Dip, throw your water off your pad, and then come in. But as you're sanding, you want to listen because any little bit of dust or debris in your area, little piece of sand, anything can get under the sandpaper, and you'll start dragging that piece of dirt or that miniature piece of dust back and forth, or it could be a little tiny grain of sand that got in there, and it'll do what happened to your guitar. So we're leveling the clear on your guitar like this with a little wet sanding block past some scratches, and then we're going to go back through and bring it back up to gloss again. And so when you're wet sanding like this, the point I'm making is you'll feel it. You should hear it. I don't know how I didn't catch it, but you'll be sanding like this, and you'll feel a little pebble of dirt get up under there, and it'll start going. You can hear it. You have to go. You have to wipe down. You take your bucket to the sink. You rinse your bucket out. Take your sandpaper off your block. You rinse your sandpaper. You rinse your block. You fill it back all up. And dust free, you wipe down your body again, and then you dip and wet sand some more. You have to literally be detailed about how clean you keep the guitar body, the water, and your wet sanding sponge while you're wet sanding. You want to listen and feel for any screeching. You'll feel a little pebble or dust get up under there, and you got to stop because it'll drag marks back and forth in your clear as you see. So anyway, so you got your 1000 on here, and we're going to take it down. Remember, I'm starting from scratch. This is I've been clear coated a third time. Let's say there's scratches in it, just like yours. Back again, once again, 1000 grit, 1500, whatever you got on a custom built block, the size of the area. Sometimes on the points of these V's, I have to put masking tape up here so I don't accidentally sand too far because these corners are easy to burn through the clear. And if you burn through, you have to re-clear again. A lot of detail. I know the main thing is just stay clean and even and flat. Make sure you ain't going off to the side or off to the side like that. Some guys might even go small hatch pattern. The thing also, don't stay in one area. Always work the whole side or the whole round of your back in one sand motion. You know, and as I work down, I try and sand the whole side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know, 10 down. Count it all the way down, or you don't have to count, but you try and work the whole side of the piece evenly. You don't just stay in one area and sand the whole time until the scratches are gone. You want to take the whole back of your guitar body and go like this. You know what I mean? Staying in one spot and just trying to get rid of something, it'll dig a hole. So you want to stay nice and even all the way around in one long motion. Main thing, let's say, keeping your sandpaper clean. And so it'll haze back out and you'll lose your gloss totally. Even though yours is glossy and you see those little tiny scratches in it, as you go back down with 1000 grit, it'll haze back out and it'll lose gloss totally. And it's because we're taking the clear coat down like 1 mil, one layer. And so I'll do that whole process and you take it down, and then you only can tell if it's leveled and totally unglossy is if you wipe it down, dry it off, and then you put the light on it. You may not see that in the video, but as I put the light on this, you'll see part of the orange peel sanded off the top and the high and the low spot. You see the little texture? That's the texture of spray gun leaves. That's why it has to be wet sanded and buffed to get that baby grand piano gloss. So what would you go 1,000? So then you put some 2,000 on, and then take after you get it leveled to where it's not glossy, then put 2,000 on, and take it down with 2,000. Sometimes I'll hatch pattern it like this. As on your body to give you a better idea. Sometimes I can go like this. I cut that block a little skinnier for this body I have in my hand. Keep going until you take all the shiny off the clear. And you go from 1,000 to 2,000 to your 3,000. By the time you get to your 3,000, then you'll be able to take some of your polish and probably put on a rag. You won't need an orbital sander. You can put it on a rag and polish it by hand in the gloss. When you wet set in something down to 3,000 grit to that point, it is so slick that you can hand buff it and it'll come to a shine really quick. You would think you would need a commercial buffer, a body shop buffer, but after 3,000 grit, put a little bit of rubbing compound on your clear coat. It will take it from totally a flat finish to a total gloss. But you can easily do it by hand, as the same. So I got a little bit to go here because this is a press clear. I'm gonna run through. I got 1,000 grit on here, and then it takes a little while for me to go all the way through this one section here and to get it all the way flat to where there's no shine in it. So before I can move on to my 2,000 or your 2,500, I got to get a little more of that shine off there and some of that orange peel. All right, actually all of it. So run through the 3 grits, and then after you run through the 3 grits, take a picture of it and send it to me, and then we'll probably hit it with the buffing pad. If you do have a little orbital or something that you can get a soft foam or sponge pad on, that'd be cool. But we're just going to wet sand back through the 1,000, the 2,000, and the 3,000 grit process like this, and rebuff it. Bring it back to a shine. We're going to go down past them little tiny scratches that are in there and fix it. And I'm sorry it took me so long to do this for you. This is totally flat. See how it's not shiny? See the difference in the shiny in here? And then this was flattened with a big soft pad. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and I do it by hand. I don't do it with a buffer. A buffer will burn off all your edges. You have to do it flat, water. So see how that's not shiny? All the orange peel's gone. When you start this little shiny and dots all over, that's your orange peel. So that's the way we're taking it to that point, and then we're going to buff it.